Hello kids, how are you all? I hope you all are doing great and I hope you all are having a great time. So today I'm going to tell you all about Henry Martin. Henry Martin was born in England and he was a very bright student, but he lost his mother at a very young age. When he was a little kid, he lost his mother. After that, he started going to school and he was a very bright student. He got out of often his class, he stood always in the first place. And one day, while he was studying, while he was writing the exams and all, he got his marks and he scored the best. Like he scored the best and he wanted to share this with his father. He had only his father with him, right? So he wanted to share this good news with his father. And he went running and very happily to share this good news with his father. But when he went home, he found his dad dead. He couldn't share his happiness about marks with him. He had nobody now. He was all alone. He didn't have any friends, he didn't have any parents. He was all alone now. To forget the memories of his dad, or to forget the loneliness, or to bring himself out of the loneliness or the wilderness he was into, he wanted to do something. He started reading Bible. From a kid itself, he was interested in Jesus. And that moment when he started reading Bible, it kind of changed his life. He started reading Bible daily, every time he had time, every moment he had time, he started reading Bible. He learned a lot of truths through Bible. Bible is the word of God, right kids? So after reading Bible, he was so inspired, and then he continued his studies. He went to Cambridge University, which is one of the prestigious universities now on the earth, right kids? He went to that university, and in that university there was this pastors who preached about God to the young people. And Henry Martin always attended these meetings and always was inspired. One day, while he was reading a life story of a pastor, David, he was so inspired to do God's work. That is when he decided that he is supposed to do God's work. He will do according to God's will, not according to human's desire. And he decided to commit his life and dedicate his life for God and to preach people about who the true God is all about. Right, kids? He decided at that moment, after reading David's life story. He was so inspired by that, right? After that, he prayed to God. God, this is what I'm thinking about my life. God, I want to dedicate my life to you. I want to commit my life to you. I don't want to go through human desires. I will do according to your will, right? He told that, and I will preach about you in any place, either it's in mountains or deep dark forest or any crowded area. I'll preach about you in any place, even the forest areas where there are people eating raw meat, or inhuman people, like, even in those areas, I will preach about you. I will preach about you no matter where I go. So according to God's will, he traveled to India to start a missionary to preach about God in India. But in those days, we didn't have airplanes or something like that, right kids? So he had to travel by water through boat. And it took him 8 months just to come to India from England. It took him 8 months. And in those 8 months, he didn't wait until he comes to India. He just preached about God to people on the boat. To all the travelers on the boat, he preached about God. He changed many people's life there itself. Before he came to India itself, he started preaching. And after he came to India, he saw some situations and his heart was broken. Because India was and also is into idol worship. Idol worship is very common in India, and in those days, especially, they worshipped any earthly belongings, any earthly things, sun, rock, tree, moon, whatnot. They worshipped everything. And his heart was broke, because this is not true. This is not the real God. They're just something lying in the world. They have no importance also. So he preached to people in a very easy way. He had to preach in a very easy way. Do you know what he did? He learned Hindi and also Urdu. In those days, almost most of the Indians spoke Hindi and Urdu. So he learned those languages. He read Bible in those languages, and he understood and spoke in the same language, and he communicated with many Indians in the same language so that they can understand what he's telling. How committed he is, kids. He learned two languages and preached to people. And he preached in a very simplified way. So whenever there's somebody, worshipping sun, he went and told them, if your house is dark, you will light a lamp, right, kids? You will light a candle. But will you go in front of the candle and worship the candle? Will you start praying to the candle? No. In the same way, when the earth was dark, God kept a sun there. It is just like a lamp in the darkness. That's it. We're not supposed to worship sun. Yes, kids? So he explained in this way so people can understand what they're doing is wrong, right, kids? So after they understood, a lot of people's life have changed because of Henry. And he always was still committed. He, together with many other preachers, started a missionary in India and changed many people's life. So you can see how dedicated he is for God, his passion for God and his commitment towards God, right? Not only did he learn Hindi and Urdu, but also two other languages. He learned two other languages and traveled to another country to preach about God in that country. How wonderful is that, kids? You can see how committed he is to learn so many languages just to make people understand what the real God is all about. Right, kids? So we should also have dedication, or we should have something committed for God. In a day, we have 24 hours. So you can give at least 1 hour to God. If 1 hour is a huge time for you, you can give 20 minutes to God. Right, kids? Like 10 minutes you read Bible, 10 minutes you pray. Small commitments you have to do for God. That will be helpful for you to grow spiritually. Right, kids? It will help you to grow spiritually. Right, kids? So from now on, you also start reading Bible. Even if it's like 5-6 verse, even if it's you might not be able to do the whole chapter at once in the starting, but slowly you'll be habituated. So start reading Bible, okay, kids? So there's this thing, you read so many books, like from nursery to your university, whatnot, graduation, you'll read tons of books, tons of subjects, tons of books, right, kids? But why aren't you reading the book of life, the book of truth, the word of God, which is the truth? Like, we should read that, right? Yes, kids? When you are reading so many books in the world, why aren't you reading Bible? It is literally the book of life. It is the word of God. We are supposed to read, right, kids? So from today onwards, even if it's a small verse, start from wherever you can and start reading Bible, okay?